Alright guys. Okay, so today's video is going to be using proportions to solve percent problems. Alright, a couple things you need to remember. To set up the problem, remember we're going to do the skeleton for the proportion, and we need to understand that percent goes on the bottom. Percent meaning the hundred, so whatever the hundred is, that goes on the bottom, because it means out of 100. Okay, the part that we don't know, or the part that we have to, are given, it's also the word that's after the word is, the number that's after the word is, that's going to go on top. And the whole part, the whole thing, that's the whole thing of it, goes on the bottom, and that's usually around the word of. You'll understand all this. You don't have to write all this down, because you're going to understand it through the examples. But here's one simple example. 50% of 30 is 15. So you got all these numbers, and we're going to figure out where to put them on our skeleton. So 50% obviously is going to be 50 over 100. Again, the 100 goes on the bottom all the time. Then you see that 30 is the total, because out of 30, like if you had 30 questions, the total would be 30 questions. That would go on the bottom. And then 15 would be the part that hopefully you didn't get right. But anyway, so 15 out of 100 is the part. Okay, so here's some examples. We're just going to go through many examples, and you'll understand it better from that. Okay, supposing number one, in 2000, the number of drive-in movie screens, which probably you don't even know about, but they used to have movies you watched outside, that was called the drive-in movie screen, was about 78% of the number in 1990. Okay, it gets a little confusing, but we can work it out. About how many screens were there in 1990? And here's a little chart they give you. Here's the year and the number of screens, and it's blank for 1990. Okay, so first you write your proportion, write down your skeleton, which is just the bar equals the bar, okay? And you know the 78%, you write that down first, that's easy. Then you got to figure out, well, I know 717 in 2000, and that's going to be the part, okay? We don't know the whole. We don't know how many total there were in 1990, and that's going to be the whole, so that's where your n goes. Okay, then the second thing, which got erased, you write the cross products equal to each other. So you write that 78 times the n is going to equal this times this, which is 717 with two zeros after it. Then you divide by the 78, and you end up with about 919. And that's it rounded, okay? Does this answer seem reasonable? Sure, because it's more than, you know it's going to be more. They had more in 1990 because they don't have hardly any now, right? It got less and less through the years. Okay, let's do another example. Okay, sometimes it'll be just a simple thing, like it'll say, what percent of 250 is 138? Like it's just a one-liner, very, very few words. Again, you do your skeleton first. We don't know what the percent is, so this time our x is going to be on top of the 100. And then the of is the number after the of is going to go on the bottom because that's our whole. That's out of how many total we have. And the 138 is right after the is, that goes on top. We can estimate first though, guys. We can say, well, 138 is about 140, which is about a half of 250. So I'm thinking it should be about 50%. So you do the cross products, and you get about 55.2%, which is pretty close. That's a check. All right, another one. 207 is 46% of what number? Okay, this time we're given the percentage. And again, we can estimate, because 46% is about 50%, which is about half. So you think, okay, 207 is about 200. And if 200 is about 50% of some number, if you got 200 right on a test and you got 50% on that test, there had to be about 400 questions on that test, okay? So we have 46 over 100, because that's a percent. 207 is just the part, not the whole. Remember, after the of, that's the part that's the whole. We don't know what that is. That's our n. Do the cross products, and we got 450. That's pretty close to what we estimated. Okay, this is the easiest way to solve the percent problems. Okay, you could do the tape diagrams, you could do the double line, but this is the easiest way to do it, as long as you know how to set everything up. Okay, number 4. A restaurant can seat 150 people. If 6 tables of 6 are seated, what percent of the restaurant seating is full? Okay, well first you have to figure out, okay, if 6 tables of 6, that means there's 36 people. And that's going to be the part, right, out of the possible 150. So we don't know what percent, so it's n over 100, and it's 36 out of 150. Again, you think about estimating. Well, 36 is about 40. 40 out of 150 is almost close to 50, and 50 out of 150 is 1/3. So I'm thinking it's going to be less than 33%, because that's 1/3. So we do our cross products, and we find out that it's 24%. So I'm thinking I knew it was less than 33, and that's exactly what it is. Okay, just got a few more examples. Okay, suppose you had 379 toothpicks. You used 28% of them. How many are left? We did this using the tape diagrams. So let's see if we can do it with the percent. We've got 28%, 28 over 100. We can estimate, of course, that 28 is about 25%, which is about a fourth So about 379 is about 400. You just kind of use round numbers here to get an idea. 1/4 of 400 is obviously 100. Okay, when we do our cross products, we get 106. So that's exact. So that's how much we use. Okay, then we got to reread the question. How many are left? So we got to subtract that from 379. So about 273, about 300 weren't used, which is what we would have figured out right here. Another way to do it is just to go ahead at the beginning and subtract this from 100%, saying that you use 72%, and then solve it the same way, and you'll get about 273. Okay, one last board here. We're almost done. Sometimes the number's going to be bigger. Sometimes you have to find 300% of 50. Okay, so it's going to be 300 over 100 is equal to some number over 50. Remember, the word after the of is your whole. That goes on the bottom. So we're going to estimate. Well, 300% really means like 3 times more, right? Because 300% means 3 over 100, which if you reduce it, it'll just be 3 over 1, which is 3. So I'm thinking 3 times 50 is 150. And when you work it out, you get exactly that number. All right? Now, here's another one. What if you had 121.8 is what percent of 105? Okay, imagine you had a test, 105 questions, and there was some bonus, and you got 121, 122 of them right. Would you get more than 100% or less? You'd get more. So you can estimate it. 121 is about 120. And that's more than 105, so you know it's going to be more than 100%. And you can follow this through. It's about 15 more than 100%. Or is it? It's only about 15 of 105, so you get about 15, a little bit less than 15, a little bit more than 15%. Okay, so you do the cross products. It's okay, don't always put the big number on the bottom. Always put the number after the of on the bottom. And the other part goes on top. Sometimes the part's going to be more than the whole. That's how you get bonus parts on the test. So you do the cross products and you get 116. So it'd be 116% would be your actual answer. Okay, we'll do more in class tomorrow.